Thanks so much for joining us here at MeWe Fairs today. We have events in person and online, and today is our online panel on nervous system regulation with practical tools that you can apply immediately. There are 7 of us that are on the panel tonight. We all have various types of expertise working in this subject. We are excited to be together with you to explore this. We will be introducing ourselves generally at first, so you know who we are and what we do. And then we'll go through and talk a bit about nervous system regulation and how that applies to our work and some of our perspectives on that. And then we'll be open for your questions. It is free to ask general Q&A questions while you're here tonight. You can put those in the chat. And then if you'd like to ask a specific question, a personal question, we are happy to share with you. It's sliding scale. It is, and the prices are in the chat, and I'll add them again. It is 20 to 28. You choose how much, or $12 for BIPOC folks to ask a personal question. And then you have the opportunity of asking the question anonymously if you want, or having your voice recorded in the audio of the recording that's going to get posted on our YouTube channel, or coming up here on stage with us. Yeah, so let's go ahead and start our introductions. We'll go in the same order that we did in the Facebook Live. For those of us that are here, we're going to have Arshaya, Joanna, Jennifer, Claire, Katie, and Satora go. And yeah, take a couple minutes, tell us about you, tell about all that you do, and then we'll come around again and talk about nervous system regulation. If it's a huge part of what you do, feel free to mention it here. Just don't go into it as depth as you go as deeply as you will on the second round. All right, go ahead, Arshaya.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lorelai. So my name is Corina. Arashaya is actually my spiritual name. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and I work with energy therapy through Reiki. My work focuses on supporting people in moving out of stress, emotional overwhelm, and overthinking into a state of clarity, stability, and alignment. What I've seen in my work is that many people try to solve everything at the level of the mind, but the body and the nervous system are still in a constant state of stress. And from that state, it becomes actually very difficult to think clearly, to make decision, or to feel grounded. So this is where energy therapy, like what I'm doing, becomes very powerful. Because we are not trying to force change. We actually support the system to return to balance. And as the energy begins to align, the nervous system naturally follows. I use other tools as well, like tarot and oracle. I do Reiki and tarot sessions, and I teach as well. So my work, it's really about creating that space where the system can reset, regulate, and return to its natural state, where clarity and aligned action become possible again. Thank you so much for being here, and I try to answer any question.
Thanks so much, Karina, Arshaya, and Joanna.
Hi, I'm Joanna. I'm a healer, and I also am an empath, and I also have ADHD, and I'm a highly sensitive person. So I have a lot of experience with nervousness and anxiety in my past. The work I offer is energy healing sessions, rapid miracle healing sessions. I also do oracle card readings, and I started doing guided custom meditations that really help my clients calm down and get grounded. And also, I started recently doing animal communication. Um, Before this path, I worked in tech and I was very empathetic, people pleasing person. And that taught me how easy it was for me as a sensitive person to absorb too much energy and how important it is to create a practice to ground myself. Thank you so much. And I look forward to answering all your questions and sharing what didn't work for me.
Thanks so much, Joanna. Next is Jennifer.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Wells, and I am a Master Shibari instructor, and that is Japanese rope bondage where we use rope to create artwork. But what I discovered as an empath through this practice is that a lot of times people's emotions come out and then they need help processing them. And so my Shibari practice has helped me hone my empathic practice in that I have come up with techniques to help people process their emotions and come up with next step actions that will help them get out of the stressful loop of anxiety. And so the things that I have available for people are I have step-by-step video instructions on how to do Shibari. I also teach Shibari live on Zoom. Um, and in addition to that, I have a 30-minute empathic like reset phone call that I do where I use the empathic techniques that I have developed in order to help someone who might be in that crucial state of anxiety to be able to transition from that to a calmer state just through a dedicated private conversation on the telephone.
Great. Thanks so much, Jennifer. Next is Claire.
Hi, I'm Claire Stanley. I am a functional diagnostic nutrition health practitioner. I've had my practice, Creative Balance Health, for over 15 years. I'm also working as the functional health coach at the Redefining Wellness Center for Drs. Jabin Moore and Dr. Jessica Petras. The last several years, I've been working with a lot of different kinds of cases dealing with mast cell, histamine reactivity, mold toxicity, heavy metal toxicity, alopecia, just as well as gut dysfunction, autoimmune dysfunction. One of the things I've noticed a lot in the last 2-3 years was the correlation between a lot of the difficulty in recovery and inflammation with nervous system is something that I was personally interested in. I have a trauma background. I'm an 8 out of 10 on the ACEs test, if you're familiar with that. And so I was really wanting to move in a direction where I was able to help people dealing with past trauma and sort of stuck in an endless cycle of not feeling better or finding themselves with one issue after the other. I work with clinical lab testing, drainage and detoxification pathways, herbal supplements, and then nervous system work.
Great. Thanks so much, Claire. Next is Katia.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I intuitively see people's energy blocks as tangible things, and I pull them out and throw them out the window. And I also teach people to do Reiki. And I've over the years just that like kind of grown into wanting to go deeper with people and for a longer container and kind of look closer at different parts of their energy. So I'm also moving into coaching as well to help people empower their energy and keep the blocks from coming back.
That's great. Thanks so much, Katia. Next is Satora.
Hi, I'm Satora. I'm a channel and an energy healer. And I work with a group called Amaris. That's a group of ascended masters, angels, and other beings of unconditional love. And we've been working together since 2012. It's almost 14 years now. And they have completely, through their guidance and their healing, completely changed me and my life. And that is what I share with my clients, the experience of their unconditional love and the healing and also the guidance. And last fall equinox, Mother Earth talked to me and tasked me with creating a movement called the Rising of the Gentle-Hearted, which is all about for creating safe spaces and ways to thrive for empathic, neurodiverse, highly sensitive people. So a big part of that is nervous system regulation and emotional regulation. As highly sensitive people, we need even more of that than, normal people. So I have lots in that area.
Great. Thank you so much, Satora. So in addition to running the panel, I'm Lorelei Shamayo. I am an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. So with my body psychology tools, I use all sorts of somatic awareness to notice what's happening in you and to sense and feel empathically what might be happening for you. And I use this as a place I do this for myself too, but to notice what you might be feeling, what you might be wanting, things that you might not recognize that you're feeling and wanting or don't want, etc. So I use all kinds of tools to help you be more aware of your own experience. And then there are so many ways of using your body to shift your experience. With reading your eyes, I'm reading your soul, and my aim is to reflect your soul back to you so you see and understand yourself in a new way, so that you can use this to recognize your purpose, make choices that are in alignment with your purpose, choose who you do things with, what you do, etc., to support you expressing your purpose here in this life. I bring all my tools to help you better understand yourself, be authentic, be in alignment in all that you're doing, and to navigate through lessons. I'm excited to bring these to you tonight. Great topic. I appreciate having community, that all these great topics appear and then people gather together to talk about all these things. So we're going to go around again and talk a bit more specifically about this topic and how we need to approach this topic. We shared a little more generally about our work, and then we'll just dive more deeply here. And the way the panel works is it's free for you to be here. It's free to ask general Q&A, so general questions about the topic of nervous system regulation. And if you'd like support in a personal way, the personal question, there's a small price, and I'll put information about that in the chat again. Please support us in asking questions if you've got them. It will just to keep the engagement going in terms of general Q&A, and then also if you have a question that you want to pay for, that helps us advertise to bring people in for the panel. So we appreciate you doing that. We'd love to share our insight with you. It's a great way for us to be of service. This is recorded, so keep in mind that if you ask a question, if you want to come up on stage with us, your voice and your presence will be recorded. You can ask questions from the chat, and you can also ask questions completely confidentially through private chat, and I'll read things out. All right, I'll get that in the chat, and then let's go around again and talk more about the theme. And if you practitioners, if you think of something else you want to share about your general background, or if you think of something else about the theme after it's come around, like, we can come back to you. So no stress. You don't have to get it all at once. All right, go ahead, Arashaya.
Yes, thank you, Lorelai, for sure. What like I say again, I help people move out of stress, out of overthinking and emotional overwhelm into clarity, stability, and aligned action. So what I see, and this I want to mention very often, is that people are not lacking knowledge. It's actually that they are overwhelmed. So the nervous system, it is in a constant state of stress. And from that state, clarity becomes actually very difficult. Through energy therapy, what I do, I use Reiki. We actually work directly with the energetic system, which naturally supports the nervous system to regulate. As the system relaxes, right? So people start to feel more grounded, more present, and able to respond instead to react. And this actually reflects in real life situation, like in decision making, in the relationships, and even in financial flow. So nervous system regulation, it's not just mental, it's actually energetic, and that's very important, this layer. And when the energy aligns, everything follows after. So yeah, this I wanted to point right now.
Great, thank you so much, Arashaya. Joanna.
Hi again. So as being someone who is an empath and sensitive, I kind of feel really deeply and experience life really deeply. And for the longest time, I was suppressing my emotions. And I found that for me, spirit and mind were two of the key components that were keeping my stomach and nervous system upset. So things I tried over the years, mindful watercolor painting, which is really amazing. I'll tell you about that more later. Meditation, which could be challenging with ADHD. It took me over 2 years to get a regular practice going. And creating my own gut healing meditation. And this is like the biggest thing, I've learned to be very intentional with what I allow into my energy field, whether it means using protective visualizations before watching heavy content on TV, or choosing lighter, more joyful things to balance the weight of the world. Um, that really helps. And then also, keep in mind, I learned my emotions were not something I need to fix, and they were not something I need to hold back. They're messages, energy, and movement that you need to get out. And we've been told so long, don't express your emotions. Oh, it's bad to express your emotions. It gets holed up in your body. And for me, it was a significant portion of my nervous system problems and some struggles I still work with today. So I come up with a lot of tips, and I hope I can help everyone. And remember, everyone's different too. So it might not all work for you, whatever. Each person will have great things to add. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna. Next is Jennifer.
Hi. So yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I started performing as a shibari aerial artist on stage before my son and I were both diagnosed as neurodivergent. And so I kind of like instinctually saw something that I thought I would like, and I kind of gravitated toward it. And then it was after the fact that I got the diagnosis of being neurodivergent. And then through my research of trying to understand what this diagnosis meant for my son and I came across Temple Grandin's work about the hug machine that was used on the farms that she found beneficial to herself. Um, and I just sort of went, oh gosh, I think I'm kind of like self-regulating here. And so I have played around with it over the years about compression on the body and how it helps to reset the nervous system when the nerves are overwhelmed. And but in my practice, there's also an important fact about the that you can damage the nerves if you do it wrong. And so I spend a lot of time teaching people how to do Japanese rope bondage aerial art performance safely, so that they don't hurt themselves. And it for people who are not athletically inclined, they might choose to do this art form like on the floor, or in the air. But there's also ways to get like the same therapy, just with like a blanket or something like that. And so when my son was young, what we would do is we'd do the burrito roll, where you'd lay a blanket out on the floor, and then you'd lay on the edge of it, and you'd grab the edge of it, and then you'd just roll up until you were basically swaddled. And so that's the same kind of concept of just getting that all over hug that helps to just like reset your nervous system. And so there's been a couple of techniques like that, that I've come across over the years, that when the world just seems like it's absolutely too much and you just need a break, there's just things that you can do to reset your body.
Great. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Mhm.
Claire, it's great. We all get to learn from each other on the panel. It's all great.
Hi. So I work a little differently because it's more medical involved, but we were seeing so many people that were coming in just very stressed out and agitated. And the doctors, we all noticed that the clients that were the most reactive, whether it was to herbs or to the other things that we were doing, the more dysregulated they were, the more difficult it was for them to get better. And so I started using techniques for nervous system dysregulation in the practice. Personally, I was seeing this a lot in my own practice, and I had, as I had mentioned, a trauma background. And what I was noticing is I'm also highly sensitive, and I was getting easily triggered. And even though I had already all the tools, meditation, tapping, EFT, VU breath, a lot of other techniques that would be helpful once I was noticed that I was triggered or stressed out. What wasn't happening was it felt like my body was getting hijacked, and I figured out already the damage was done. Once I'm triggered, the stress hormones were flooding my body, causing inflammation, causing a lot of issues, which I was really aware of. I wanted to dig into how can I stop this overreaction from happening to begin with. So did a deep dive, and I had come up with a technique that takes maybe 30 seconds to do. I practice myself, teach all my clients. When I was getting really triggered, it was to the point where TMI, I was running to the bathroom with loose stools. I was just, all of a sudden, it felt like my body had been hijacked. And I'm like, I got to do something about this. And so I kind of looked into how the amygdala works, prefrontal cortex to trigger this fight, flight, freeze, fawn reaction, and figured out a way to have basically quickly scan my body, scan my behaviors, and then basically have a three-part mini chat with my brain or my guides or my inner child to kind of settle and soothe. And this has been really helpful for my clients. And so that's and this is mostly what I do, because as much as diet and herbs and all the other things can help, the nervous system regulation is really core for recovery and health.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Claire. Katie is next.
Thank you. I almost like forgot to like sit forward for my turn. I was just like enjoying everybody's stuff. So in my Reiki practice, people come in with all kinds of things. Sometimes the energy is like just vibrating a bit, kind of intensely, and I kind of like try to like smooth it. And like I was saying before, I see the blocks as tangible things. And then once I can pull it out and throw it out the window, we can talk about what patterns brought that energy to manifest in this kind of like denser form, and unpack the metaphor around what it is that the block is showing up as. Like sometimes people have like, I've seen like cement blocks stuck on people's feet where they're like having a hard time moving forward, because obviously it's hard to like walk if you're locked into cement, or like kind of bands around their knees keeping them stuck. A lot, like you name it, I've seen it around the throat, people having a hard time expressing themselves, just all kinds of things. And it's been fascinating to work with the energy and see what things I can pull out and what are not mine to do, and help people sort through what they're going through that makes the blocks, and then kind of see what happens when they go home and work on it, whether the blocks are still there when they come back the next time and they've been doing the same things, or if they've shifted a little bit, or if they're gone altogether. And between the energy healing and their own practice, which I also help them with, they've moved it for good.
Great. Thanks, Katie. Satora.
So, as a highly sensitive, empathic, and neurodivergent person, also with lots of trauma, I have to do a lot of self-care throughout the day to be mentally healthy and keep my emotions and my nervous system regulated. It's like a daily thing, it's a lifestyle. So I want to share a few of the basics of what I know, just that help keep the nervous system regulated. For me, being in nature is extremely important. I also love walking barefoot, or you don't have to walk if you don't feel safe. You can just sit and have your feet on the ground. It's extremely important for me. In nature, everything relaxes, the stress goes away, and I feel safe. I feel at home. There's no judgment in nature and crazy thoughts and emotions. There's just peace for the most part. And also consciously connecting with nature, with birds or plants or trees are really good. For some people, water is, for me, for example, water is really helpful, especially the ocean, but that's not for everybody. So finding out what in the nature area is available and accessible, and also what is most helpful. Like for me, connecting with a tree and, tree hugging is really, really helpful. The other thing is movement, some kind of movement daily. I love dancing. Now you can go into nature and go for a walk. There you got it all together. Uh, or I love dancing. Uh, so finding some sort of movement, it doesn't have to be like hardcore exercise. I would never go to a gym because that's not fun. To me, it has to be fun and, enjoyable and movement. But moving helps the body work out stress. And it's important to, when we're stressed, to find rituals and find ways to end the stress cycle and signal the body that the stress is now over and it's now safe to be okay. And this could be something like just shaking, or as a neurodiverse person, for me, I my daily habits that I have are also very important for me, for my brain to reset and my nervous system to reset. What I currently do is I listen to an audiobook. So listening to something is important because my brain is always on hyperdrive with the ADHD. Whoops. So it's good to just listen to something, and then I do online puzzling. So that keeps me busy. It's fun, and my whole system can relax because I'm not really working on anything. So often for autistic people, it's important. They have we have sort of rituals, certain things we do that help us reset. Okay, I think that's it for now.
Can you talk just a tiny bit about Jinshin Tara?
Yeah, and the Jinjin Terra. The Jinjin Terra I learned from my teacher, Dr. Stephanie Mines. She learned the Jinjin comes from Japan, and there is a lady, and I forget the name. She brought it here to America, and my teacher learned directly from her. And my teacher is also, Dr. Stephanie Mines is also a neuropsychologist. So she did a lot of research and combined this Jinjin, which the Jinjin is based on the meridians and the 5 elements. And it's basically somewhere between acupuncture and acupressure. It's very simple. It can be very simple. I mean, there's complex flows, but basically you touch certain areas on the body in different sequences, and that then helps regulate the energy flow of the different meridians. And this is something I do as part of my daily self-care, that it has a self-care component where there are very simple flows that are often just like two places where you touch. And that's part of I do that every morning, and it's keeps me healthy, and it also helps regulate the nervous system. And I can show a few of those if there's interest of the self-care things,
That's great. That's
flows.
great. That's great. One thing that just occurs to me as we've gone around, I don't think, has anyone talked about tapping?
Yeah.
Okay,
more
Claire
than-
talked about tapping. Okay, great. Yes, like so many things going by. Okay, cool. So you did already, or you like say more about it now? You may have already talked about it.
I just mentioned it as a tool that I use, but it's something I pretty much always teach and there's an app that I really like to teach for all my clients to do. Even kids can benefit from it.
Great, great. I should say a little bit more about me. So, oh goodness. Like one thing that you mentioned, Claire, was a selection of different fears. I think a number of you have talked about different fears. I use a model for recognizing different types of fear in the body, and then there are different antidotes that we can practice. So one is just to recognize that we're in fear. so we're not reacting out of our fear, so we can bring ourselves to a place of more presence, maybe take a break until we have more presence and ways of shifting so we're not in fear. Yeah, just all kinds of things about breathing and postures and so many different things. I still love all the things that you've all been talking about. There's just so much stimulation all the time. I'm also neurodivergent. There's so much. And like we're all learning to flow on the waves of life, whatever they are, and how to presence ourselves the best we can in the setting that we're in, and how to create more of a setting for ourselves that is more nurturing and soothing and allows us to express authentically, to express what's wanting to come through us. So yes, the great big journey. So lots of different somatic tools that I use too. And it's great that we're doing this panel in particular because I haven't been as actively practicing maybe everything as much as I did for a while. And yeah, it's just great to be reminded and to bring all this back. I tend to be really strong mentally, so I use a lot of mental tools, and really the solution and the way to keep being with this is to be in my body and supporting other people to be in their bodies, because all this is happening in my body when this is all going on, right? All right. Let's see. Does anyone have anything else on the panel they want to mention about this topic? And then, yeah, it's great. And I see there's just a comment in the chat and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll get there in a minute. Yeah, practitioners on the panel. Anything else you want to mention about nervous system regulation before we jump in? Okay, just check to see if there's anything else you wanted to share. So for today, general Q&A is free, and if you'd like to ask a personal question, we would love to support you. And there's a small price for that, and we've got more people joining us. Great. And let's see, so one person asked in the chat, I think more information about pattern interruptions. Oh, for ADDers. Yeah, so we could recognize and take action sooner. All right, great. So that's something we could explore just a little bit here first. Anyone have stuff for ADD they want to talk about? Any different tricks? I noticed I've had increasing amounts of attention stuff happening as I'm aging. I'm 58 now and definitely increasing with time. All right, Joanna's got something. Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah, guided meditation has really helped me, but it took me about 10 years before I actually could do it at all. Because I just kept trying, but my brain just would not shut down enough. So I found somebody that would like the sound of their voice resonated with me, and that helped. So that's one thing I kind of use. Like as soon as I realize I'm triggered, I'm like, I'm gonna go to the other room and just sit for like 2 minutes. Doesn't have to be long, and start deep breathing. You may find when you start, at least when I did, my anxiety was so bad I couldn't follow people who were like, take a deep breath, or count to 5. And I'm like, I'm dying holding my breath for 5 seconds. What do you mean hold my breath for 5 seconds? You're trying to kill me. And my brain, like even just talking about it, my brain is like, I remember that. And then the other most useful tool I kind of use for ADHD specifically also, and as an empath and very sensitive, was I try to be informed, but I don't want to get triggered. And I was getting so triggered watching anything, news, YouTube, even like people I consider not that triggering or dramatic. So excuse my language, but I put up either a shit shield or an angel shield before I watch stuff. So I just go like shield, and it takes like a practice or two. But then I try and sit back, and it doesn't always work, but I try and act like I'm watching a movie, and it kind of helps give me a little barrier of protection. And then I have animal videos afterwards.
Great, great. Anything else anyone wants to share about tips for ADD? And just we're answering this in a general way, not specifically to the person that asked about in the chat. But yeah, this is great. Your share is great.
Well, my answer is not going to be myself about ADHD, but I'm going to say that in general, for any kind of thing like this, I'm a big advocate for napping. My best schedule for myself is what I call the split shift. There's been times in my life when I've worked like the breakfast shift at a restaurant, and then gotten a nap in the afternoon, and then worked in the theater or a different restaurant in the evening. But doing that split shift where I have a time to nap, and also whenever I've had like a job that requires me to be there for 8 hours during the day, I have found that what I need to do on my lunch hour is I need to focus on taking a nap. Um, clocking out for that 30 minutes and actually closing my eyes and going to sleep. And sometimes I use a sleep hypno on YouTube to kind of get me quickly into that relaxed state so that I can actually get that nap in 30 minutes and then have an alarm that'll wake me up in time to get back on the clock and back to work. Um, so and that is something that as I've talked to other family members that struggle with different things, we all kind of agree that sometimes when you feel your energy just like revving up and revving up and revving up and revving up, and you just need like a total reset, you need to be aware that what maybe you just need to just go take a break, go in a quiet room, close the door, lay down. Um, I've done this, in my room, in my house, and I've also done this like in my car at work. So,
Yep, great. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, appreciation on the panel and in the audience. Who else wants to share?
I
Looks like
have
Claire had
a
something. Yeah.
Yeah, so usually when people are triggered, it's really hard for them to settle down, whether, they're ADD or ADHD. My son was ADHD, so I had a lot of experience with this. So I usually have people start with something very simple, VU breath, where you're not holding your breath, but I try to make it fun and add humor, where basically I tell them you're going to be a human kazoo, and they're vibrating their vagus nerve. And I mean, humming has a bit of a same effect, but basically just breathing deeply into your lower belly, a couple of maybe 2 or 3 breaths in. And then when you breathe out, exhaling, you're going to make the voo sound. So it tickles your throat. And just doing a couple rounds of that can help settle enough that maybe you can go to the next step. When I'm also feeling, if I'm having a hard time focusing, I'm a big fan of binaural beats or entrainment sounds. You can find them pretty readily online in different meditation apps. I've been a big fan of Focus. I've used it for years, actually helped me get certified and go through school decades ago. But if I'm too frazzled to just do things around, but you do want to have over the ear headphones when you listen to this to get the full effect. But there's different frequencies of tones, and it just helps you focus. There's also different frequencies to help you relax. But I do find that if I'm really unable to focus, that's one of the first things I'll go to.
Great. Anyone else? Techniques for attention.
Yes, I would like to mention a few simple tools that are actually very efficient. One of them is to bring actually awareness into the body, like slowing down the breath and just place your hands on your body. This helps like a signal safety to the nervous system. So this is very efficient. It's very easy to do. Another efficient tool is to pause before reacting, right? Even for a few seconds, I notice, of awareness can shift your nervous system from reaction to response. And as well, grounding. I think this is fantastic. I really love grounding. It's just like you're placing your feet on the ground, if it's safe, in a park or in a garden, and just like become aware of your body. This can help regulate the system very well. And as well, like touching of self-holding, the other panelists mentioned as well. This is fantastic. So placing your hands on your body or like holding yourself gently. This can help the system feel safe and supported.
Great. Thanks. It looked like Katie had something to share.
Actually, it's perfect that I'm following you, because I was going to say giving yourself a hug is just as effective as getting it from someone else. And also, I was going to talk about the breath. Usually, you're breathing out of one nostril at a time, and the right nostril is the kind of active side. So, if you close the active side and just breathe through the left, then that like automatically drops your body into that rest and digest nervous system reset. And it's so quick and easy and kind of like a hack because you're like sneakily starting the system. So.
Great. Yeah. Fun responses in the audience. Anything else about attention? I know definitely it's easier to focus early in the morning for me. And I need to watch that I don't get hungry. So blood sugar is really important for that. And goodness.
I'm gonna pull this down because
Is there, are we the only ones here? Is everybody else in rooms?
Hi. Thanks for being here. This is our online panel on nervous system regulation with practical tools that you can apply immediately. So we are taking general Q&A for free. And if people want to ask a personal question, there's a small price for that. Someone asked a general question about different tools for regulating nervous system in terms of attention deficits, ADD, and stuff like that. So we were just going around on the panel and answering questions on tools for nervous system stuff. Oh yeah, there's some information on the chat. I'll get more information on the chat. You just arrived. Yeah, anything else anyone wants to share about attention? Go ahead, Joanna.
I get excited. ADHD, you know. So like I totally thought of something afterwards, which is typical. Yeah, the keeping your brain, like I call it awake. So in the morning, I am a lot more awake probably around 10 a.m. or so. So I get a lot of my computer work and stuff like that done at that time if I have any, and like emails and like blog posts, all that stuff that kind of makes me like use my brain harder. And then in the afternoon, I started doing a second meditation, and that helps me kind of like a nap would reset my brain and reset my energy. And on top of that, I'm also very aware of where my energy level is at. So if I'm at an event, a good example, the MeWe practice circles, sometimes I've seen like 4 or 5 people and my brain is just like, I talked to enough people today. It's been fun, but we're going to just like shut you down if you don't leave now. So just knowing your boundaries and your energy levels and when it's time, your body's signal to be like, you need to go have your own time, you time. So that is very helpful also.
Yeah, that's great. You know, in some ways, really, it's just our body being responsive. It's just that it's like a more intense response. Done. You know, whereas other people might have done and they can ignore that for a while. Yeah, it's great. And someone was asking about animals in the chat. So if you general Q&A is welcome, and that's included for free. If you have a general question about animals or something about animal care, animal nervous systems, and all that, you're welcome to ask that for free in the chat. If you'd like to ask a personal question, there's a small price for that. And then what was I going to say? And we can answer questions on animals too. A lot of the same things apply. Some of the people on the panel have a specific expertise of working with animals, and there are even more people showing up in the audience that are practitioners that have expertise in animals. And we did have someone pay to ask a question. So great. So we'll be getting to that soon too. All right, great. Yeah, anything else on attention? And Joanna, if you had something else too, go ahead.
No, but I have something on the animal one.
Mm-hmm.
If we can shift.
Yeah, we
Super
can go
quick.
ahead. I don't think there was any specific question
Okay.
that I noticed, but go ahead.
Oh, cool. Well, kind of piggybacking on what Claire had talked about earlier, like there's very specific frequencies that are really good for anxiety in dogs. And I'm just going to throw this out here real quick. I had a client last week and she had a very anxious Chihuahua. And it's always been anxious. And it was pacing one night before bed. And I had talked to her about some other health concerns and other things going on with this anxiety. But I had sent her a YouTube video of like 10 hours of 528 hertz dog healing music on YouTube. And she put that on, and not only did she fall asleep immediately, she woke up the next day. She thought her dog was dead because he was sleeping so deeply he didn't want to wake up. That was the first time he had heard music that soothed his brain so much that he was safe enough to go into a deep sleep. And so she's been playing that ever since, and that's been like 3 days now, and it's working amazing. So if you haven't checked that out, highly recommend it. You just Google on YouTube like good music for dogs or cats or whatever, fill in the blank.
Right, that makes me think of a couple of things about my animals too. So, an 80-pound dog that I used to have like way back, he had a couple of bad experiences and developed the fear aggression. And what I came to realize is that I was feeling stressed and scared about his fear aggression showing up, and that was making him more scared and more aggressive. And so I had to learn to calm myself so that my dog was not having problems. So definitely the communication and picking everything up about each other and like our responsibilities of how we impact the environment. Oh gosh, all there. And then, oh goodness, um, another dog that I had. Let's see which video, which cat. Yeah, so Elote is here, on my photo right now. I don't have him anymore. Interestingly, a few days before he died, one of the practitioners in the community was helping me with some of the behavior with him. And we used to, if we pulled up to a drive-through, like I was going to get coffee, he would just like, I mean, he sounded like his little dog. He's going to eat the person that's giving me coffee. And what she helped me realize was that I wasn't a clear alpha. And so he thought he needed to be alpha and take care of everything all the time. And so she was teaching me some tools to have him not be thinking that he needed that responsibility. So again, our behavior affects the animals around us so much. There are ways that we might not realize that we're having them be more stressed. So there's just all kinds of things that we can do. I mean, she taught me some basic things about making sure that I ate first before he did. And so if I wasn't hungry before I fed him, I had to like and pretend that I was eating first, like all kinds of different things. So yeah, all kinds of different tricks. All right, and it looks like Claire's got something to share.
Yeah, I guess I mean to Joanna's point also I have a little chihuahua so it's just napping below me but I've always used when I rescued her as a puppy you know they have the toys with the heartbeats and that just talking about vibrations and warmth and hugs and I would always have that on. There's so many puppy channels on Spotify and around with different kind of soothing music. So, you know, that was always something I would do. And then I have a PMF mat that I use for aches and pains, and it is one of my dog's Harper's favorite thing. Like she gets so excited because she wants to get on my lap when I'm on the PMF mat, and she just loves what it's doing for her. And I think they're even coming out with PMF mats now for dogs. I'm seeing. So she really responds to that. So there's, you know, a lot of different modalities. Well, honestly, a lot of the same modalities we use for ourselves can be used for even the most anxious of pups.
Okay, great.
So,
Anything else?
Lorelai, I just
What?
wanted to add one more thing to the animal thing. Um, So my 15-year-old dog, I had him in Colorado before I moved to Florida. And here in Florida, we have a lot more thunder and lightning than he was used to when he was young. And at first, it was super overwhelming for him. And there is a product called a Thunder Vest. And it is just like a doggy vest that Velcros on, and you can adjust the hug value of the Thunder Vest. And he I hold that thing up and he comes running like, "Oh, get that on me now." So I it helps regulate him, especially during a storm, but also sometimes just if anything else is making him anxious, like if there's a lot of people at the house or anything like that. So
Yeah, that's great. I love that he comes running over for the best. That's cool. Great. All right. We're happy to take more general questions as we go along, and we've got a personal question, so we're going to bring someone up and get started with that. All right, great. Here's Anissa. Great to have you here, Anissa. Oh, we can't hear you though. Let's figure out why we can't hear you. You're unmuted, but something's not connecting about your.
Let's try this. Is that
Yeah, great.
okay?
Great.
Sorry about that. New computer, new downloads of Zoom. So getting that taken care of. Hello, thank you so much, everyone. I was hoping to ask about my dog, Lael, who was whining and now has left the room. I don't know if you need to see her or if you can just connect her energy all right. She's an anxious girly, and I knew that adopting her, and she's grown up or has had so much growth in the last couple years that I've had her, but we recently moved and she's kind of struggling with going on walks again. She's struggling in the evenings, more restless because she's not going on the walks. And I just feel that overall her sense of anxiety is heightened. I know you touched on, the owner's anxiety, and I feel mine is pretty in check. I'm feeling pretty calm recently. So I know that some of my anxiety does feed into her, but I do feel that there's other things going on with her. And I was just wondering if anyone or all of you could touch base with Lael is her name, and she's a 3-year-old mixed breed. Just whatever guidance you may have.
One, and in terms of she's a mixed breed, but definitely some of her breeds are the thinner, higher energy dogs that often have more anxiety,
Yeah,
right?
so she's a Belgian Malinois, Siberian Husky, American Staffordshire Pit Bull.
So too big for a baby sling.
Yeah. But she's a great size. She's about 50 pounds. So she's not full Belgian Malinois, but she's definitely not American Staffordshire Pit Bull either.
And so we'll go around. So everyone, you have around 3-ish, or a little bit more minutes in your answer. It's fine. And maybe one thing I'll just jump in and share too. And if you could raise your hand in Zoom when you're ready, that would be great. So then I know as you all stack up and you're ready, like I just know who's ready to answer. I recently ran across a case where the energy really needs to be cleared in the space, particularly that you're in a new space. And so you're around new energy. If you have, I don't know if you have roommates but any of those things, like dogs can really be sensitive about the energy and pick up the energy of the space. And so even if you're doing okay, there could be something in the space or just around you or anything that, right? So in whatever way, clearing your space or clearing like any of those things could be helpful.
That's true. I've been wondering about hiring somebody who's caters to that type of clearing and whatnot, since I don't really know how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's an example of something that could be affecting her.
Okay.
That's based on your move and the shift. Yeah. Great. Yeah, not everyone here works with animals. So just anything that also for working with people that applies, go ahead. And those of you that work with animals, take your time in whatever way to connect. And if you want a photo or you want anything like that, let us know. Joanna.
Out of curiosity, I'd love to see a photo.
Okay.
But I'm getting like so much change. Location change, schedule change. So it's like change. It's very anxious about all the change. I'm thinking, let me see. I'm not sure if a thunder shirt would help, but I don't think it would hurt. But yeah. Oh, do you have the picture?
Can I text it to you or should I?
You can share your screen too if you want to put her on.
Yeah.
It's a new computer, so I don't have any of my files.
It's okay.
I can text it or I could email it to myself quick.
Go ahead and do that, and I'll see if I get anything else.
Okay.
Definitely picking up a little bit on your nervousness.
Okay.
When you're out walking.
It's not the best photo, but it's the first photo that I found on my camera roll.
Oh, oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, anxious. Yeah. Happy though. Very, very happy.
Yeah, I feel like mostly she's a happy girl. She definitely struggles more in the evenings. And yeah.
Did you go from more of an urban environment to more of a country environment?
Reverse. A more of a, it was still in town, but it was a much less busy part of town. And now we're in a new town on a busier street that has sirens and alarms and motorcycles and
Yeah, like as you each time you say something, I'm like, more anxiety. I think she's just getting overwhelmed. So it's just going to take time for her to get used to it. So maybe shorter walks. Try the thunder shirt, and then I'm going to pass it on to somebody else because that's what I've got. But she loves you and is trying to stick with you like glue. So that's probably why she's
Okay,
a
great. I
little
know
nervous.
oh, go ahead. Yeah, and that totally shows her energy right here. This is great. We've got Katie online and then Claire. So go ahead, Katie.
My suggestion would be like baby steps. Like if you have like a yard or something, just like spend some time outside, like, and just like make it comfortable to be like even outside of the house. And then once like it's like the yard is okay, then like, okay, let's try going like a few steps and like working up to with like small increments and getting more comfortable and more safe, and then slowly expanding the bubble.
okay, thank you.
I- I'm going to jump in with different things. I know also someone has mentioned about having the animal go all around their perimeter every day. So I know she like being, but whatever her safe perimeter is, then like going all around that and gradually having that be bigger, like your yard and things like that. And then, yeah, just whatever her perimeter is. All right. I think Claire.
Yeah, so I moved from a very wooded island to a very urban area about 6 months ago. And so I've been dealing with something similar with my very anxious Chihuahua. Right now, I'm right near a major train station. So there's all sorts of noises and things like that. One of the things that has helped, or a couple things that have helped, is even from before, is when she has access to visually see outside, and if she sees a lot of movement, other people walking by, that makes her more anxious. And so I've kind of limited what she can see out for now. I have pheromone, sort of like vaporizers throughout my home to help calm, and like a lot of sort of dens for her to escape to when we are out and about and it's more noisy and bustling. I'm just trying to, my dog gets very nervous around other people, loud noises. And so I try to make it fun and rewards and things like that around that as she's getting used to it. She has gotten a lot better. But yeah, there is a difference going from sort of something that was a little quieter to something more urban. There's a lot of noises. There could be a lot of smells, both in the yard still from before or in the home. So, I mean, those are things that you may be able to try.
Okay, yeah, I've been wondering about the pheromone thing before. I've seen that advertised.
Yeah, it helps. I have one near the front door so that when people walk by, it's helps minimize that as well. I, but so I mean I've been throwing all the things at her as well for similar reasons. But she's very anxious to begin with.
Yeah, I was wondering if anyone, like we talk about breathing for people, and I was wondering is there a way to engage certain breaths in dogs? Like if you hold your hand on them and if you're breathing in a certain way, can you help engage them to calm down and breathe a certain way? Or is there certain touch or sorry, I guess that's a second question, but
No, it's great. It's great. And maybe stop sharing, I think. Maybe
oh,
that's okay. And then Satora's next. And yeah, I think you're totally heading the right direction, Anissa, with some of your ideas. Let's hear from Satora and then can say more too. Yeah, and Zoom has changed where to stop share. It's a little confusing. I don't know if it takes 2 steps now. It's great. All
okay.
right, Satora.
Somebody mentioned playing music of a certain 528 frequency. So if there's a lot more noise, maybe a calming music is good. If that doesn't work, there is a something very calming. I think it is on Spotify. It's called Inward Harmony by Marcy Ham. I can put it in the chat. I think it's available on Spotify. Yeah, it is on Spotify if you have Spotify. And I used to play that on a loop. I found it very calming. Also, for maybe some time, have you considered CBD?
I haven't talked to my vet about it, but I have wondered about it. She's currently on Soliloquin, which is a calming support chew. So yeah, more, and my vet did bring up puppy, for lack of a better phrase, puppy Prozac.
Puppy
So
Prozac. Yeah, we our dog when he was old, we gave him the CBD for pain, CBD oil, but I think it also really helped with his anxiety.
okay.
Yeah, and you ask about touching and breathing with the dog. I mean, anything that you can do to be really calm and have your dog with you and touched, it will calm him down too, because they really tune into us. So, yeah, if you have a certain meditation, or is there any energy work that you do?
Not not like, it's all kind of self-taught in a way, or guided by YouTube or something like that. Like I took the very first Reiki session, but I never continued the series. So very basic knowledge.
Yeah, so you can just put your hands on the dog and just calm yourself, breathe deeply, and that will help the dog too.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right, great. We've got Arashaya, Jennifer, and Katie online. I'm looking up more stuff too. Arashaya, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Yes, here I wanted to mention from an energy perspective. So, about Reiki, right? So, can be very supportive for the animals, Reiki, right? So, energy work. It helps them relax very good and return to that calm. And I remember when when I had my dog, he really loved to have like that gentle touch. So just put the hands on my dog, just softly, like on the chest, on their body somewhere. And he felt like really, really comfortable, like touching, and he felt my energy sending to him. So that was very supporting. So yes, maybe some energy work. Reiki, as I said, is very supporting. So think about that. Can help a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, great. And Jennifer's got something.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention, you said that he seems to have the most problems in the evening, and we parents commonly call the evening the witching hour because everybody seems to get cranky at that time of day. But what I have found with my dogs is the best way to keep the evening calm around our house is we have a pretty clear set schedule about what happens first, second, third, fourth, and we have a set dinner time. They have their dry food available to them at all times of the day. But in the evening, my two small dogs split one little tiny can of wet food. It keeps them regular, but it also keeps them on a schedule where they know what to expect. And if they start asking for that too early in the evening, then we just let them know, nope, nope, you don't get that till 6:30. And we're pretty adamant about that. And that really helps to keep them calm in the evening to know that they don't have to bug us about anything because we are going to consistently deliver the same thing at approximately the same time every evening.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Jennifer. Claire's got something.
Yeah, just it came to mind, so I think someone mentioned it. Next to the PMF mat, when I would do evening meditations for like 30 minutes, again, my dog loves it. She will settle if she wanted to play. All I had to do is just tell her night night, which she knows is sort of a cue for settle down. And she settles down. And I am putting my hands instead of, in my lap on her. And she just very much, I can feel her energy relax and she sighs. And so, these are all things that you can do both simultaneously to help settle yourself as well as your dog. They really seem to love that type of energy. So I think it's whatever you want to do for yourself, that if you're already experimenting with meditation, I bet your dog would really like it too with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. So a little bit that I'm looking up is like it just totally made sense to me that there are ways that you can help with regulating her breathing, but like how to do that. So how much is she food motivated? Are there any treats that she really likes, or just she gets stressed and she's not interested in food?
Gets stressed and then she's just not interested in it.
Is there anything that she's interested in, like a favorite toy or anything that any
Not
object?
when she's above her threshold.
Well, so what about when so then she's super stressed. Does she spend some time like somewhat stressed but not as much and she still will do food?
Yes.
So what you could do is in the times when she's not as stressed, somewhat stressed but not as stressed, if she'll still be interested in food, and you have to figure out what her best favorite treats are for this stuff. They were talking about how this works. So in terms of helping her breathe more slowly, so taking deep breaths yourself while you're in front of her, while she can see you, and watching things like the rate of your blinking. So like I was watching right here that your blinking is pretty fast, and evidently the dog's going to be watching your pacing in all these ways, and so even the rate of your blinking can help speed them up.
Fascinating.
So, and as soon as you see them, yeah, so you're taking deep breaths, and as soon as you can see that she slows down, like give her a treat, and then see if she will let you put your hand under her chin to get her to try to rest her chin on your hand,
Oh,
like
she loves
particularly
that.
like right there. So that's a thing that might help her calm down. And again, as she starts to calm down, giving her a treat or giving her whatever kind of thing is a positive reward. They also mentioned like notice when she's calmer on her own and give her whatever rewards or treats so that she starts associating the calm with the good things.
Okay.
So those are some of the different things that like related to that I saw. And then I had a vet that I absolutely loved in Boulder, Colorado, and he stopped his practice at one point. He sold his practice and he started working on making products for animals. And so one of the things he has is a mushroom mix for helping relax dogs. And so it's got reishi lion's mane, it's got amino acids, and then catnip and lemon balm and valerian root and passion flower and stuff like that. So those are examples of herbal things that you can just again, yeah, Dr. Silver, really like him.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's just all kinds of other things too. Yeah.
All right. Lots to think about. Thank you all so very much. And Claire, your dog's adorable.
I missed the dog. You're muted, Claire. Sorry, unmute Claire. We want to hear you. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Claire, let's get you unmuted though. We want to hear you.
Hi, yeah, she heard us talking and she's like, I have to be in the lap. She usually hangs out right by my feet when I'm working. And so she's like, I bet she's gonna come up on my lap now because I'm talking about her. So anyways. So
Great. But
I
But
did
yeah,
do
so
CBD with her when we first moved. I did a little bit of it, and some other things to try to bring her down and then weaned her off. So I basically did that for about a month to try to get a reset to kind of bring down some of the anxiety and then worked with her just to get more used to some of the noises and things like that. And so I have done that, but I wasn't sure how it was going to work. So I've done it with different dogs.
great. And who mentioned the pheromones? Was it Joanna or Claire or Claire?
Me.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have pheromone stuff for the cats here. We have a
Yeah.
cat that gets stressed and is deaf and just goes, "Meow." So yeah, so trying to calm him. But yeah, Claire, any recommendations about the pheromone stuff that you get?
I just switched to a less expensive brand, honestly, that I found on Amazon. And so far it works nicely, but I've done this for years. I had a very old golden retriever before, and I used it for her as well. So I've just always had pheromones in the house. But I think basically there's one, I don't know what the name brand is, but It's pretty, I basically got it off of Amazon, I think. So I can find it, put it in the chat. The
And
two I
it's particularly for calming dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. I have all sorts of treats for that. Trust me, it's an issue. So I understand it can make everyone nervous. But it's sort of also like to your point about children. I also do the same thing. Like when you're trying to, if a child is kind of out of control, to gently sort of under the chin, just to look in the face and the eyes, I would do that. If she was really hysterical, I would maybe gently breathe out onto her, kind of to get the distract her or break the spell. So those are all things I've done. I haven't gotten her to do specific breathing. I would be more my breath on her or just to like lift her chin just to look at me so we could kind of to get my attention or break what she was kind of spinning out on.
And I know with a human, it's helpful if you like the other person, if you have their hand go on your belly so they can feel your breathing, not just see you breathing. So I have
Yeah.
no idea if there's any way that Lael, when she's not too stressed, if there's any way of having her have contact with you, with your breathing too. But yeah,
Okay.
great. Fun question.
Thank
And
you.
just for all of you too, Anissa works with animals too. It's just right, so hard for all of us to give our gift to ourselves and work with, right? All the things are their own. So totally great. Oh, and Satora's got more. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if this relates to you, but I was once on a walk and I observed something really interesting. There was a guy with his dog, uh, and walking on a path where there's lots of people and lots of dogs, and the dogs got really, really excited and freaked out about two other dogs coming closer. And so he walked off the path and started having his dog run circles around him, and he would just keep moving the leash, and the dog could get his, aggravation out, but he wouldn't do anything. Every time he was on his round, he was facing the walkway where the other dogs were, he would go really and then he kept doing his rounds until the dogs were passed, and then they kept on moving forward. So somehow he found a way for him to get his aggravation out. So maybe you can find something for her to get her anxiety out, because it is adrenaline. Both of them is like he was just having him running circles on the leash. So he couldn't hurt anybody, couldn't hurt himself, but was still able to act out.
Yeah, move all
Yeah.
the energy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're
Great.
welcome.
Thank you so much, Anissa, for jumping up and asking a question. And excited that you moved. I hope you love where you are. And the journey, right? Of all the
Yeah.
change and starting out all the change. Well, but thanks so much for being here and for asking a question. All right. If anyone else has a question, oh yeah, and the pheromone diffusers are there in the chat. Yeah, anyone else has a general question? We're happy to cover just some general questions, nervous system regulation. And then if anyone has a specific question, we would love to support you just like we supported Anissa. It's 20, 24, 28 there's information in the chat, or $12 for BIPOC folks as a step of making reparations. So I'll put the information in the chat again about how you can pay, and you can come up on screen like Anissa did, or you can ask a question from your chair, or you can ask confidentially through chat. And Dale's, you got your hand up. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute. And then, did you want to ask a question of the panel? Do you have a general question or a personal question?
No, just a comment.
Yeah, sure.
So I just wanted to thank you guys for all of these great suggestions. I guess I'm in good company with the doggies because I'm always looking to calm down my nervous system. And I just wanted to say that some of the suggestions tonight I'm going to try for myself. My situation is I live alone and I haven't been in a relationship in a while. So I like the idea. I like knowing that hugging myself is just as effective. I'm definitely going to be rolling up in a blanket. So thank you for that, Jennifer. and so many. Oh, and the music, all the music for the doggy music. I'm gonna check out that for this doggy, me. But anyway, I've really enjoyed listening to the shares tonight, and I just wanted to thank you.
Great, Dale. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, great. Yeah, so any other general comments or questions? And if you want to ask a personal question, we're excited to do that too. Go ahead, Jennifer. Want to respond to something?
Well, the blanket idea was just part of my introduction, but I have all kinds of stuff like that I do, so I thought I'd mention a couple more. Um, so one thing is when I was growing up, I my parents taught us how to massage each other's feet, and I thought that was just normal for a family of five to sit on the couch at night and do reflexology on each other. And I later found out that it was something that my grandmother did with her three children and passed it down to my dad, and my dad passed it down to his three children, and my aunt passed it down to her three children. And so that was just a tradition in my family to sit around and practice reflexology. But a little bit like Kate said about the Reiki and feeling the physical things and throwing them out the window when you're doing reflexology on your feet, when you're massaging your feet, you can kind of feel like the blockages in the feet, and you can spend some time there like working them out. Um, you can look up maps online for reflexology that show like what nerves correspond to what part of your nervous system. And there are some that are specific to your brain and to your gut and that kind of thing. But I have just found that usually if you're just searching with your thumbs and you find those blockages, um, then you can work those blockages out with your hands, and it's really super healing, relaxing. And that also, I mean, as long as you can still reach your own feet, that is something that you can do for yourself. But the other thing that I really wanted to mention tonight is I have this thing. I bought it when I was going through cancer treatment, and I'm in remission, but I will not give up my U pillow. Let me tell you what, the U pillow, it's marketed as a pregnancy product, pregnancy pillow, and it is a pillow that goes behind your head, and then it comes like down to your knees, and you can actually tuck it underneath your thighs and kind of prop yourself up. But you can also take the arms of this thing and hug yourself in any way that you want. And so my wife and I both have one, and we like to put them on the couch, and we'll be sitting there to the two of us will be like all wrapped up. And for people who live in hotter climates like I do, so the weighted blanket is usually too hot in my environment, but I found that the U pillow gives you kind of the same effect, but you could still have like your legs out and stay cool in a hotter environment. So that is just two more tools that I have used recently. So.
Great, thank you. All right, yeah, practitioners, if any of you want to share something about that too. I just noticed, yeah, popping different ideas for us. It's great. Go ahead, Claire.
Yeah, so I have an approach that may be a little different. A lot of my clients even come in and they have all these modalities that they say, oh my gosh, I was so triggered and I was doing breath, I was meditating, I was doing all these things. And as I mentioned, I was always curious about how can we notice or stop the reaction from being so intense. So I try to teach something about recalibrating. which is a little bit more gentle. And so some of the tips I usually start with this process is mindset. And so when you notice that you're stressed or triggered, rather than going about it saying, I need to fix this situation, is to approach it with curiosity and without judgment. And so that whatever you're noticing, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. And one of the easiest ways to do this is with humor. And I don't mean sort of maniacally laughing about it, but sort of being bemused by what you witness, when you're witnessing what's happening in your body, witnessing what's happening in your mind, because a lot of this usually starts in behaviors and then moves into feeling of symptoms of pain or discomfort. And so instead of being afraid or just kind of like, oh, wow, my jaw's clenched, kind of like, oh, look, the sun is out. And isn't my body interesting? I'm stressed and my jaw's clenched or my stomach's in knots. Or, wow, I noticed I'm having a lot of negative self-talk lately because I talk a lot about behaviors, things like hypervigilance or rumination or things to spot. And so it's not good or bad, it just is. And one of the reasons why this is so important is because if you're going in and saying, oh my gosh, this thing that caused the stress, and you're thinking about what happened in the past, or you're ruminating about the consequences of noticing the stress or trigger in the future, you are in fact re-triggering your brain. Because your brain is picking up on this saying, oh, we really have a serious situation here. We're really going to clamp down on this fight, flight, freeze, emergency situation. And so by having sort of this bemused humor of like, wow, look how interesting my body is. And it's like, thank you for giving me a warning. Thank you for letting me know I'm in this situation. You're validating your brain. You're letting your brain know that you've heard the message, you've received it, and you still feel safe. And so a lot of times clients going in trying to fix are really re-triggering themselves. And so this is a bit of a different concept just to be, it's sort of like a SWOT analysis if you've been in business, where this is an opportunity as opposed to a threat. So that is it's also helpful when dealing with toxic people or toxic situations. If you're bemused, you're curious about why is this person acting so strangely, and it's a buffer. It kind of gives you a bit of a buffer so that you're feeling more grounded in the situation instead of upside down with it. So that was just sort of a different way to look at it. When you're noticing that you're triggered, and I need my blanket and I love my weighted blankets and all those things too. First stop, notice like, I can see I'm triggered. It's like, okay, am I safe? Am I good? And you have the conversations with yourself, but it's okay. And just saying, I've got this, I'm witnessing this, and I know what to do.
Great. Great. All right. If there's any other general questions in the chat, we're happy to chat about those. If anyone has a personal question. I know my mind was just wandering about all these different things. But yeah, this is great. Are there any questions? Or are there any topics around the subject that you'd like to bring up, panelists? Feel free if you want to bring something up. Or if we have questions we want to ask each other, that's all fine. General topics we'd like us to address, as well as the people in the audience if you want to bring something up. A general question, it's good. I know I was thinking of, I'm in a newer relationship, and so new dynamics, new person, and we're living together too. So like all these different things all at once. And so one of the tools that I use in my work is the drama triangle. It's like hero, victim, and villain to see like what's the pattern that's happening. And oh my gosh, I have so much more richness to explore of how I can totally dive in the triangle in ways that I didn't fully know before. So yeah, new situations, bringing up tons of new things. So just Anissa was talking about living in a new place. So yeah, living in a new place, new situation, new people, new interactions. I'm like ripe for learning. Oh, so much. Oh yeah. So I'm reminded again about taking breaks so that I can let the adrenaline decrease in my body. Noticing when my adrenaline is up and then taking breaks to let it. Yeah, it's good. All right, Jennifer.
Yeah, so when I was going through my training, there was a couple of things that I learned that are kind of like mantras that I use for myself and for others. And one of my favorite ones is that's not fear, that's excitement. And so sometimes when we are nervous, like before I come on a live Zoom panel, instead of thinking, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm going to be talking online in front of people, I might go, oh, I'm so excited, I get to talk online in front of people. So just reframing it for myself. So that I realize that fight or flight isn't always fear. Sometimes it's just excitement. There's a real time to be fearful, but a lot of times in our daily lives when we're faced a challenge that we're nervous about, then it's really just excitement, and we need to remind ourselves that. And then the other thing that I was going to say is a tool that I use for other people. And I think this is good because I think anytime that you are a sensitive person, people will tend to use us for assistance because they're just like, I can emotional dump on this person because they will respond in a way that rewards them. Um, so when I have people come to me and they're really anxious and they're stuck in that loop and they're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I take them to that place where I go, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And depending on what their problem is, sometimes they'll say, well, I could die, you know, or I could lose my job, you know. And I'm like, okay, so that's the worst thing that could happen. And okay, so let's pretend you lose your job. How bad is it? How bad is that? You don't have to go to the sucky job anymore. And then kind of talk them back out of that. But then I also like to ask the opposite question. I like, well, what's the best thing that could happen? You know? And so I like to take them to that other place where it's just like, well, maybe if I got my thoughts together and, constructed a sentence that I could say to my boss, maybe I could go and have a conversation and maybe things could improve. And maybe I might start enjoying going to work because I spoke up for myself and things got fixed. And so what I find is usually when people need their environment to change to accommodate their own sensitivities, it is good to realize that when you stand up for yourself, even if the bad thing happens or even if the good thing happens, we're going to be okay with either outcome. But what's most important is having the ability to put into words what is going on for you and being able to communicate that to other people.
Yeah, it's great. I know often being able to put things in words just helps relax me too. I have a knowing of what's going on, and I feel an ease at I think it's a recognition for myself. Like it's like being heard by someone else, like I'm hearing me, so I'm hearing my body experience, or yeah, an accepting of what's here. All right, and Katie has got something.
Speaking of putting things into words, I feel like we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we never mentioned journaling, and putting your thoughts into words. Sometimes by putting them on the page, you can take them out of your mind and kind of like unpack some of the misconceptions that you might be having, or some of the fear or the other parts of the situation that maybe you haven't quite thought about yet.
Right, and I know someone else had their hand up a moment, and I want to say too that another technique that I use for things is matching just with sound and movement. So if there aren't any words for it yet too, so like we were talking about like the movement. So even if I like inside, even if I just like, like that can be shifting for me. Because again, I'm acknowledging and giving energy a place to flow and all that. So yeah.
Can I chime in about
Satora.
that? Like, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Katie, go ahead.
I totally resonate with that. Like, I taught English abroad for like almost a decade, and there were a lot of times that I would like be miming as I was talking. And so even now, especially with energy stuff, sometimes I like don't have words, but I can like show things, and people like get the motion even when I don't have words at all for it. So
Yeah, it's great. Oh, I want to say, I don't know if Anissa's watching the screen right now, or maybe just hearing her name. One thing that I was thinking that I didn't say is for your dog with the breathing. So even if you like move your hand, like in the rhythm of the breathing, and so there's something else that Lael can follow, with anything like that. I just all those things are cues. So yeah, those are ways of matching or creating the experience we want. Satora, you're still muted. Let's get you unmuted.
Katie and I, we had the same idea at the same moment. I thought about writing too when somebody mentioned that, and I try to do it daily. There's something called the morning pages, um, for artists, but it's for anybody, where you just write 3 pages in the morning, just flow of consciousness. It doesn't matter if it makes sense or anything, whatever comes in your mind, just write it down. And sometimes great things come out, but also it just empties the mind so that creativity can ensue after that. And it's also, to me, it's emotionally regulating, because the thoughts, especially if you have ADHD, they're not in there all the time. They're outside. And I, I don't remember the guy's name, but it's very important for people with ADHD, for example, to get their thoughts outside of the head and then process there, either writing or sketchnoting or talking it out is very important to start making sense out of stuff. And the constantly, the mind that goes crazy goes into overdrive. It really helps to write it down or express it in some way. Also, what Claire said about the humor, I was in a group, there is none here where I live now, but before that was called the Laughter Club. They did laughter yoga in a very loose way, not strictly how it's taught. We were doing a lot of jokes, but we were just laughing for an hour, and it was so good. So I mean, there you learn to laugh for no reason, and it feels very artificial in the beginning, but then it feels like real laughter. But even if you don't want to do that, just watch something funny, listen to something funny. Laughing is really important too for happiness and regulation. So thanks, Claire, for bringing this up.
Yeah, that's great. Go ahead, Claire.
Well, two things. One, Lorelai, when you were doing that, it reminded me of one of your connection games that you do, where you make noises and you talk to each other like that. So I
Gibberish.
remember doing that a number of times with you. Um, but one of the tools I use is sort of an amped up gratitude journaling practice that is a lot of times we feel like we're in crisis mode, but we aren't really. But there are times when we are, where there's just a lot of really harsh things happening. And so there's a really strong gratitude practice with journaling that I've used when things were really bleak, and I have clients do when they're in a similar situation. And so we're all probably familiar with writing down, let's say, 5 things that we're grateful for. And it's always important that when you do that, that you do this in the affirmative sense, where, like I'm grateful my daughter took a nap, as opposed to I'm grateful that she didn't wake up. You want to phrase it in a positive sense. But what's important, and then the other thing, what's important is when you're writing these things down, you, in addition to being positive or affirmative tone, is to really imagine or remember the situation or the person that you're grateful for. And so kind of relive this in your mind's eye, because by doing this, you are actually releasing endorphins and the stress release hormones, and you will feel calm with it. So you don't just want to kind of toss this off like it's a nothing and just blah, 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 here's my list. Now, the second part of this is then I have people write 5 things that they appreciate about themselves. And do the same thing. It needs to be in a positive tone, affirmative. And they really need to remember and recall in their mind's eye, relive that situation or the memory of when that happened that day. And again, that kind of gives, I always found that part of it. It's not something we're usually comfortable doing. You can sort of take it to the next level and say it out loud, repeat this out loud, or say it to yourself in the mirror. If it's just to kind of give yourself that hug or attaboy or pat on the back that you need, but the hormones that come from it. And then from there, doing a lot of the things that you do with morning pages, which I was taught that years ago, where you have like a free dump. Brain dump of anything and everything that's going on in your mind. You can find some clarity with that, but just being sure that you really live through and imagine in your mind's eye that whatever it is that you're remembering that you're appreciate or you're grateful for about others or internally appreciate about yourself.
Great, great. Katia.
Sorry, my dog just barked right when I hit unmute. Good luck. I just wanted to add that you can also, in a gratefulness practice, put down things that you're grateful for that haven't happened yet to help manifest things and to start feeling it in your body and making it like normal for when those things come.
Yeah, that's great. And in terms of listing the appreciations, I'm reminded about John Gottman talks about, there's all kinds of relationship things. So I think the healthiest relationships have a ratio of appreciation to criticism of something like 6 or 7 to 1. And so I like to think about the ratio of the appreciation of ourselves. So that's the thing that was coming up for me when you shared that example. Yeah, writing, appreciating things about ourselves, writing, saying, right, thinking, remembering, all those kinds of things. So important. Someone put in the chat something called the bullet journal method. So I don't know what this is. I don't know if anyone on the panel knows anything about it, but the tagline is really, really fun. It says, track the past, order the present, design the future. So yeah, that's really nice. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah, so I love order and structure. And so I've looked at most journaling things out there. Bullet journal is kind of cool because if you actually buy the bullet journal, it has a dot pattern on the pages. And so the dot pattern is a helpful guide, but it's not like lines on a paper. So it's supposed to allow you to be a little bit more creative with it. And there are lessons that they have out there that can show you like the original bullet journal technique. He likes to have like a couple of pages in the beginning of his journal that are saved for like an index. And so whenever you record something in your bullet journal, you make sure that you put it on the index at the beginning of your bullet journal so that later on when you're trying to find it, you can go back and find it. But like all things fun and creative, there's people out there that have like blown it up and done like anything and everything with it. Some people have like a daily schedule that, and they want to check things off, am I drinking my water today? Am I taking my vitamins today? So they'll track things like that in a bullet journal, but because it's so free form, in that it doesn't have structure like a usual day planner, people tend to just kind of get super creative with it. But like I said, I've gone through like many different like journaling systems over the years, and before I knew about Franklin Covey, a friend of mine in high school got a cheap notebook and put the date on every single page of like a cheap notebook and taught me how to journal that way. And it was a combination of recording when our homework was due and also just like writing down things that we were thinking. But then later I got into Franklin Covey, and that one's like really specific, and you can get ones that have like a week on a page, a day on a page. And I've gone through several different variations of that one. But what I do now, after many years of doing this, is I I love the feel of a really good book, a really good book. I have with me tonight, I don't know if you can see it. This is a leather. Oop, mine disappeared completely. There we go. It's a leather journal that I have, and it has the tree of life is a big theme in my house with my wife and I, and so it has the tree of life stamped on the leather, really gorgeous like. And the book that's inside of this cover right now is the second book that has been put into this cover because I love this cover so much. And the way I do things now is way free form. All night, you guys have said things that either make me think of things I want to say or make me think of things that I want to look up again later. And I'm just free forming it down in my book the whole time we're talking. So,
I know one of the things that I've been was thinking about as we're all doing things is fidgeting. You saw me all pulling out my hair earlier, so sometimes playing with my hair, play with all kinds of other things, or have other things on my desk that I'm playing with, right? Or even like little clips, and like there are all kinds of different, right, stimulating toys and stuff. So yeah, all kinds of other things for attention and calming, and yep, exactly. Drawing, yeah, and people playing with all kinds of stuff. Yeah, yeah. All the things that we do like around the screen. Isn't it so nice that we're on screen and not in an office in some ways, right? We have easier access to all these things. And I think that society is so much more open to all of it now that we realize so many of us are actually doing all these things, right? Or pens. Totally play with my pens. Right. Yeah. Joanna, go ahead.
So I thought I'd elaborate a little bit more on kind of the first thing that I used for stress relief as I was leaving my tech career and out on short-term disability, trying to figure out what was wrong with me, which was nothing, but you know. Um, I had a really good therapist who's good with creative people, and she's like, "Why don't you try painting?" I'm like, "I don't paint. Like, I've never painted. Like, what do you mean painting?" And she's just like, "Just go get some watercolor paint and then put on some music and just start making marks." And I didn't really do much about it, but she actually started a little short course with like 6 other women online. So we did it weekly. So then I took it slightly more serious, and I just got really basic, like, like in kindergarten or elementary school, you had the hard palette, and like just whatever brush that came with it. And then I don't even think I had real watercolor paper to start with. So I just had like normal paper. And what really like just blew my mind was like I would be hypnotized basically by the color blooming on the page. So a lot of times even I would like wet the page and then have the brush wet and then have the color on there, and you just tap it and it's like a lava lamp. You just like you just watch it. And I even created for myself some videos that I call like drip videos, where it's just like a little higher quality, like Daniel Smith watercolors, like when I was going to liquid stuff. On a page, and I would just put my cell phone on on a holder stand and film. Like as I would add water, the watercolors would just like drip and like dissolve or like expand, make cool patterns. And then like you have this repetitive, cool, calming video you can watch over and over again. So some of mine are still out there because I posted them quite a bit on LinkedIn and some other things. But um, it's amazing how relaxing and how hypnotic that is. And yes, if you have a lava lamp, that works too.
Yeah, it's great. I open my curtains and so I have like water flowing now outside my window, and yeah, all kinds of like versions of water flowing. So yeah, watching ink spread through water and all those things. It's great. Yeah, all these things that are calming. All right. I know I've heard someone mention the vagus nerve in here, right there. Right. And then like someone was talking about that, not humming, but sounded like a kazoo. Was that Claire? Was that you too? Okay, yeah. All kinds of things like that. The vagus nerve. Our understanding of that keeps shifting and changing. Right, how important that is. Yeah. Just go ahead, Sonora. Like anyone that wants to say like all the topics around this, let's go ahead and talk about all these different things that you want
What
to
just
explore.
popped in my mind is like being really discerning about what you take in terms of news and social media scrolling, and all of that is very stress producing. So it's really good, especially nowadays, to really think about or decide for yourself how much of that you want to take in, and what you can do around that so it doesn't stress you out so much if you choose, you know, to follow the news, or if you choose to be on social media. How much of your time do you want to dedicate to that? And can you do some energetic preparation before you engage with it, and do it consciously, and maybe do something afterwards, like a cleaning ritual or something, so it doesn't affect you so much?
Yeah, it's great. Joanna was talking about filters earlier, and yeah, so maybe more details of that we're gonna get. Go ahead, Joanna.
So I'm Gen X. So I've been telling a lot of my clients who aren't Gen X, hey, play like it's the 80s. Like, act like you don't have internet or you don't have YouTube, and like do a puzzle. Even play video games. I know we were told in the 80s, like, oh, video games bad, but video games. You know, read something, do word searches. And I know somebody else was talking about puzzles or some other thing like that. But get out in nature, fly a kite. I flew a kite the other day, like, and it was amazing. You know, try new stuff, but just act like it's the 80s and you don't have access to this technology, and be like, wow. And it really like stimulates your brain also, and it kind of gets you trying new stuff. Like a puzzle isn't super complicated. We've gotten those escape games where for date night, and you know, they're in a box. You can get them anywhere. We can never solve them without all the clue cards. So, you know, that lasts like a few hours itself, and that's a fun one to do. Very challenging. I don't know if it's just me and my husband that aren't that great at them, but you know, they're fun either way. And yeah, I think like think of other things you can do offline that will also kind of bring joy to your life.
That's great. It's great. Gardening, yeah. Someone in the audience suggested gardening. That's right. Being outside, being in nature, having your hands in the dirt, all those things are grounding and calming, and yeah, non-electronic things. Right? Or other electronic things, right? Making choices about electronic things that are better for us. Right, work better for us. And just because something is generally good for more people doesn't mean it's what's good for you, right? So varying and finding out what works for you and doesn't work for you. Great. Yeah. Any general questions? Anything else in the audience? Yeah, we can go ahead and close up early if we don't have more to share. But yeah, any other topics around this that anyone on the panel wants to talk about? Again, or any particular things that have come up where we want tips from each other? We'll just bring things up. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah, just listening to Joanna, I was remembering that one of the things that I like to do is crochet. And so if I'm working on the computer and I get writer's block and I can't figure out what to do next, I'll just put the laptop away and I'll get out my crocheting. And so with the neurodivergence, there's always like that one area that you're more genius, and then there's the other areas where you struggle. Well, I struggle with reading and writing. I always have, and thank God for all the tools that we have to help us now. But I've always excelled in math, and so when it comes to crocheting, I can just sit there and I can just count, and I can get into that methodic counting pattern of making a sweater, and so that's one of those things that I like to do that's offline.
Thanks, Jennifer. Yeah. Remember once upon a time when we used to play cards? Just all the things that we used to do that we do not do anymore, generally.
I still do.
Yeah,
I
I
do occasionally. That's a good.
of all the things I moved, one of the things I moved is my Go board, right? So I know you play Go online, but my Go board has like slate, stones, and shell, slate and shell, and things like that, and just the feel in the hand, right, is totally different. Not that I play, but
Yeah.
I've got them.
Board games. That was another one I forgot to mention. Like we have a ton of board games, so that's always fun offline also.
Like digging my hand through the stones and the crystals, the cold and the smooth and the rippling and the pattern and the sound, and like digging through like pile of right rolled or what's the word? Not rolled, but like turned crystals and things like that, and just yeah, all these different things, the sound and the textures and all that. Yeah, and someone else in the audience again commenting about yeah, crochet. Yeah, exactly. All kinds of ways of doing things with fiber. And that repeated pattern. Yeah. As it's a calming, soothing pattern, and it calms our nervous system. Totally. Yeah. Cooking does for some people, being aware of what things we're eating and how it impacts us. All right, great. All right. Well, let's see. Just checking. Anyone have anything else that you want to bring up in terms of this theme of nervous system regulation? Any other tips that you want to share? Anything else you want to share about your practice? And we'll go through and do introductions again. Like it was coming, didn't quite come. Check my volume, make sure you can hear me. Not really. See if you can hear me again now. There we go. Yeah. All right. Okay, great. Well, maybe let's go ahead and we'll close out. So let's go around and have everyone share again who you are, what you do, share anything that you want to about this theme, share specials. If you have specials, I'm going to go ahead and put your contact info and the specials in the chat again too. And yeah, it's been great being here all together and exploring this. Thank you, Anissa, for your question. Thanks for the others in the audience that have made comments, shared appreciations and things like that. And yeah, I guess we go in the order that we started in. So Arshaya, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So again, my name is Corina Arashaya. I'm a Reiki Grandmaster teacher and I'm a tarot reader as well. I work with energy therapy through Reiki to support the nervous system regulation and emotional alignment. The special that I have for this event is 20% off for my sessions and courses, the Reiki courses, and I have a tarot course as well. The code is welcome 20. You can go on my website if you feel drawn to, which is beacons.ai/Corina Reiki and Tarot, and check what I have there. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. All right, Joanna's next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joanna again, healer, reader of oracle cards, creator of custom meditations designed to help with whatever physical, mental, or spiritual problem you're dealing with. And animal communication, I offer all those on my website, which is JoannaTracyEnergyHealing.com. I do have some specials going, and I totally forgot what they were, so they're in the notes. And I look forward to working with any of you who are interested or feel called to connect with me. And I hope everyone has a wonderful evening.
That's great. I can mention what your specials are. So if you're here in the gathering tonight. There are codes in the chat for 30% off a nervous system reset and 10% off a 30-minute Oracle reading. But you got to be here to get it out of the chat. All right, great. And we've got Jennifer next.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Wells, and I am a Master Shibari instructor, and I have a website that is just jenniferwells.org. And at that website, I teach Shibari lessons on how to do Shibari safely. I take people from zero, I don't know how to do anything, up to being able to be an aerial artist in this particular art form. And in addition to that, I am an empath and I offer coaching. And the special that I have for this event is I have a 30-minute focus one-on-one session that you can schedule with me through my Calendly. And that is the thing that I was talking about earlier, where we talk, where if you're having an anxiety attack or reoccurring stress in your life and you want to come up with the next best action, and I will help you work through what's the worst that could happen, what's the best that could happen, and then how to figure out what is actually going to happen for you.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Next is Claire.
Hi, I'm Claire Stanley. I am a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. My practice is Creative Balance Health. And I work with clients through clinical lab testing to get to root cause issues dealing with fatigue, gut dysfunction, hormone issues, autoimmune, lately a lot of toxicity in our environment, so mold toxicity, chemical, heavy metal toxicity that may be causing issues. Nervous system definitely gets involved with all of this as well. You can go to my website at creativebalancehealth.com. I offer free 30-minute health consultations there. There's a link in the chat. I'm also offering $100 off. Coupon code is MeWe100 for my Easy Energy Essentials 90-day mineral balance plan that comes with an HTMA or hair tissue mineral analysis test and customized minerals depending on what we find. Get some coaching in there and reviews and reports.
Great. Thank you so much, Claire. Next is Katia.
Hi, I'm Katia. I'm a Reiki master teacher and an intuitive business coach and purpose coach. And today I mostly talked about Reiki, so I made my special for the event 25% off of my Reiki healing sessions where I pull the things out and throw them out the window. And also my Reiki 1 certification course. So the code is MeWe25 for both of those, 25% off. I'm also the author of this book, Balancing the Rainbow Within, and it inspired my coaching practice, helping people heal the energy in each of their chakras to realign their lives, their purpose, their business. And on my website, you can also find free introductory calls for that. So look for me at innerrainbowhealing.com.
Thanks, Katia and Satora.
Hi, I'm Satora. I'm a channel and energy healer, and I'm the founder of the Rising of the Gentle Hearted, and that's what I want to talk about right now. It's about for highly sensitive, empathic, deeply caring, neurodiverse people. We often have a hard time with regulation, with just living in this world, and it's getting crazier. So the Rising of the Gentle Hearted was initiated by Mother Earth, and it's about creating safe spaces for ourselves, energetically and inside and out, and also physically, and healing ourselves and helping each other, coming together, gathering friends and allies, and helping each other thrive. Because even the world, in all this chaos, we can create our own reality where we are safe, where we thrive, and we are the future. So this is what this is all about. And if you're interested, you can sign up for my Substack. So far, I started a newsletter on Substack. That's how far I got. It's all pretty new.
That's great.
And I
that
put it
is,
in the chat. Here it is.
yeah, teammris.substack.com. Great. Subscribe. Cool. And I'm Lorelei Shamayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach, and matchmaker. Didn't talk about matchmaking on this call. I love to use eyes as the window to your soulmates. You can find out more about me at intuitiveeyereading.com or matchmakingsoulmates.com. And my body psychology work is integrated into all the things that I do. I have a drop-in group that meets many times a month. And some of the upcoming ones are tomorrow. What are the other times I've got? Yeah, so tomorrow, Friday, April 10 at 11:30 a.m. is one of them. I've got them sprinkled throughout the month. We've got all kinds of MeWe Fairs events happening throughout the month too. I have a bunch of those in the chat. Tomorrow we have a practice circle in the evening, an opportunity for you to practice your gifts. On Saturday, we have our online fair where we have about 15 practitioners that are offering all kinds of splendid gifts. The first hour is a panel where we answer questions from the audience, and that is for free. And then practitioners are offering all kinds of things in breakout rooms. Sunday evening, we've got Cosmic Conversations happening. That's a discussion group. So you can participate in the conversation, and there's so many more things going on throughout the month. We've got another panel coming up at the end of April on financial flow, patterns behind money blocks. And then we have another panel in May, Spiritual Awakening 101. I'm awake, now what? And we've also got a panel on animal communication. What does your pet want you to know? Or what does your pet, something like that. So just lots and lots of things here at joinmeweonline.com. So thanks so much for being here today. It's been great being together with all of you, talking about nervous system regulation and all of these different tricks and tips and tools and so many different things that work for people and animals. Thank you so much for being together and growing us all. And get the recording off.